Okay, we are now recording. This is session 8 of our Rose of Westhaven campaign. When last we left our heroes, they were in the fish trading quarter of Porthcrawl, a small village on the coast of the Havenlands. We ended the session with them being approached by a number of Roundhead guards, led by Captain McCormack, who they had met previously on their journeys back to Porthcrawl. Captain McCormack told them that Lord Drago Harper wished an audience with them. Before we continue with the game, is there anything else that any of the players would like to say at this point? Otherwise, we'll press on with the character introductions.
No.
I would just ask where William is going to be soon, but that's all.
Okay, that's not a problem. You will find that out at the start of the session. So without further ado, I'm going to ask each of the players to introduce themselves and just give a brief description of their characters. So if we can start with Johannes P.
Right, hello. So I'm Johannes, and I'm playing Odran Molag. He's a fairly barbaric tribal priest of Dagon, one of the old traditional deities of the Western lands, and he's a big guy. Doesn't really like wearing clothing all that much, but right now he's dressed up to the nines because of Sasha mainly. He's trying to act civilized at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. And speaking of Sasha, we go on to your introduction, Dennis. If you're there, Dennis. Okay, so while Dennis is sorting out his technical problems, we'll go on to Johannes E. for his introduction.
Hello, I'm the other Johannes. I'm playing William of Riverhead. He introduces himself as the brother of Sasha, and he looks like a 14-year-old, not too bright boy, a little bit chubby even, and he carries around a large backpack, and as recently he has a pitch black and also cursed armor on him. He doesn't act like he looks like most of the time. Yeah.
Okay, splendid. Thank you very much. Dennis, how are you coming with your audio? No, we still can't hear you.
Anyway, we're accompanied by Marku the Elf, who will not be played by Matthew in this session. Matthew is unfortunately not available.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
We can now hear you, Dennis, so if you'd like to introduce Sasha.
I had no idea what happened. Sasha is a red-headed young girl, normally dressed with a lot of guns and in a highwayman coat when she's out on an adventure. Now she's dressed for a trip in the town, so she's dressed like a village people. I'm guessing she's carrying all the silver at the moment because we was interrupted.
Okay, splendid. So when we last left the party, all of them besides William, who was still at the Church of Peaceful Repose, you were in Smelly Alley, which is the fisherman's quarter of Porthcrawl, doing some trading, spending your hard-earned cash, etc. When you were approached by a group of guards wearing the traditional Roundhead metal helmets, buff jackets, and carrying shields, each of them with this distinctive blue and white heraldry on them and the symbol of a fish on them, which any of you who have been in the local area for a small amount of time, which is most of you, will know is the Harper family crest. As you were sort of trying to get yourselves together, wondering why this group of guards was marching towards you, they parted, and Captain McCormack, a slightly grizzled looking fellow with wispy chin hair and a scar down one side of his face, approached you and said that Lord Drago Harper would like an audience with you. And that is where we immediately pick up. Over to you guys.
So I'm still at the church?
That's correct.
Since I found out what I wanted to know, William would normally just search for the others afterwards.
Okay, well, that's not a problem. You knew where they were going, so what say we assume that you catch up with them and you're basically on the other side of this group of guards, as you can hear them saying that Lord Harper wants an audience with your fellow party members.
Okay. I would just stay hidden and try to follow the...
With us?
Yeah,
Says Sasha and looks curious at the captain. Are you sure you have the right people?
I believe so. My lord's instructions were very specific.
Oh?
I was to meet you here and convey his request, or if you were not here, since this is the place where most people would go to do their trading and is something of a gathering place within Porthcrawl, then I would to search the town, locate you and bring you into his presence.
Okay. Well, I guess if a fine gentleman as your lord wants to see us, I mean, it would be polite to follow that request, right? Ogren? He looks up at the big mountain of a man.
Yeah. I look at Sasha for confirmation that I should nod.
She nods.
Yeah, I nod.
Okay, as you're having this discussion and you're nodding, there is a small amount of commotion from a couple of stalls to the side of you, fishmongers' stalls. A small boy that you all recognise as young Barden bursts out from between the two stalls. He's obviously been hiding under one of them. He has his small cloak on and his ridiculously oversized floppy hat. He bursts out in front of you, whirling around to face the guards. You can see he's holding a small dagger in one of his hands, although his hands are shaking quite badly. He brandishes the dagger at the guards, and in a slightly quailing voice he shouts, I won't let you harm a hair on Miss Sasha's head! And he waves his little dagger at them.
Sasha almost goes all, oh. And she smiles at him. No, pardon, it's okay. They just want to talk with us. She goes over to him and gently presses his arm down that holds the knife.
You press his arm down, however your words are lost as they're drowned out by a burst of riotous laughter from the soldiers that are following Captain McCormack. However, he holds his hands up and says, "Quiet, you men. Passion's nothing to be mocked. If not for passion..." And at this point he sort of, like, almost without thinking about it, brings his hand up and twitches a scar on his cheek. "Then what are we fighting this damned war for anyway?" He walks forward and leans down, so he's actually like looking Barden directly in the face, but he's not holding any of his weapons or doing anything threatening. And his face softens a little bit as he smiles and says, "You've got fire in your spirit, boy, but don't waste any of your anger on me." And he puts a hand across his chest and says, "I give you my word as a soldier that neither I nor my master mean your young miss any harm."
That's a question, John.
Go
this
ahead.
was the soldier that Sasha spoke with when they were in the village the last time, right?
That's correct.
Came
It's a soldier you encountered who was asking what had happened at Salazar's tower. After speaking to Barden, he stands back up again, and you see Barden sort of allowing you to lower his knife arm, Sasha. You can hear like a sort of sigh of relief coming out of him, because obviously he'd not really thought it through when he busts out in front of this group of armed soldiers. But he allows his knife to be lowered and he says, well, I suppose that's okay. Then he sort of looks at you, Sasha, a bit bewildered.
Yeah, she nods. Young Barden here is a member of us too, so I guess he can come as well. She looks at the captain.
Captain McCormack just nods and says, "Very well, if that is what you wish. I'm to convey you to my master's manor house soon." You see up there, and he points to the north of the village, and you can see the gently rolling hill that rises to the north of Porthcrawl, and sat on top of it, you can only just see at this distance, is what appears to be a fairly large manor house with like a wooden fence around it.
Yes, we have heard about your lord. Well, lead the way, a good captain.
Okay, Captain McCormack and his soldiers form up around you, almost like an honour guard, and they begin leading you towards the manor house.
As we walk, John, is it like an honor guard, or are they more keeping an eye on us so we won't do anything violent or try to escape or anything?
It does seem more like an honour guard. They're not actively sort of like watching you or trying to corral you or anything. It's more just they've sort of formed up around you because they're trained to like march as a unit.
Okay.
Okay, so William, from where you are, and I'm not going to make you make a roll to stay hidden because they're actively looking for a group. They weren't expecting to be snuck up on, and you've got mad skills in that department anyway. So I'm assuming they've not spotted you. However, obviously you will have overheard this conversation, and you see these guards form up around your friends and start leading them towards the north of Porthcrawl. What are you doing, William?
Since I'm wanted to go north too, I would just try to follow them. The thing is, could I sneak faster than they are walking?
I don't think you'd be able to sneak faster than they're walking. So obviously when you're sneaking, even for someone of your skills, you have to sort of take certain measures to ensure you're not seen, which do tend to slow you down a little bit, whereas they're just like marching at a pace.
Yeah, the problem is, do I know this manor where they are taking? Does this have a fence around it?
You will have certainly seen it. It's indicated on the map as being in the northeast. It's labelled the Harper family residence.
Huh, yeah.
You'll probably not have been actually up to it. Like I say, it sits on this hill to the northeast of Porthcrawl. However, you will have certainly seen it from a distance, since the hill that it's on pretty much overlooks the entire town.
So this dotted line around it is a fence?
That's correct.
The problem is, I'm pretty sure I'm not able to sneak behind them when they are going through the gate, so I need to find another way in. I think I would just follow them and try to find a way in after they are in.
Okay, no problem. I'll just move you all on the map. Okay, so as you arrive after probably half an hour at this shallowly rolling hill that leads up to the Harper residence, you are led through this wooden fence. You can see there are guards patrolling it. As you seek to head through the gates, a couple of guards on it step forward to challenge you, but when they see that you're with Captain McCormack, they step back and allow you to pass. Those of you accompanying Captain McCormack are led up to a large grand manor house, although something of the grandeur of the house is faded, like the paint's peeling off it, the wood appears in need of a certain amount of care. As you are led in, you are led through numerous halls and corridors to what appears to be a large meeting hall. There are portraits, quite well executed, but again slightly faded and mildewy, hanging on the walls. In the centre of the room is a long wooden table with the varnish peeling off it slightly. Sitting at the head of the table, dwarfed by the ornate throne-like chair that he's sitting in, is a frail, grey-skinned man. He's bedecked in finery, gold chains, finest cloth, etc., but he appears very sickly and pale. His eyes are slightly milky. Those of you who saw the procession that was held for the late Father York will recognise this ill-looking man as the person who stood up and gave a speech at the end of the funeral service. He looks a little bit nervous and twitchy as you sit down. Is there anything any of you wish to do?
I would try to sneak in.
That's not a problem. Make me your sneak roll.
Okay. Can I get past the gate somehow, or do I have to do this first?
I'm going to incorporate, just use a single sneak roll to mean you get through the gates and into the house.
Success.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So you watch for a few moments and you wait until the guards are changing over. And as they're doing so and their sight is momentarily taken off the gate, you slip through and into the front of the building.
Okay. Since they have a nice fence around it and some guards patrolling it, I'm assuming that they won't have all doors closed, so I would try to circle the house and look for an entrance in the back.
Okay, no problems. You begin circling the house and looking for another entrance. Meanwhile, Odrin and Borden, and of course yourself, Sasha, you are gestured to be seated at this large table. Captain McCormack makes his excuses and he withdraws back into the antechamber outside of this large meeting room, shutting the double doors behind him as he goes.
Okay, we'll nod at him as he leaves and find a seat to sit down, and she'll put the big satchel with all the silver coins he got from all the selling of all the plunder down beside this chair, trying to make it look as insuspicious as possible.
Okay, you set your money down by the side of you and you all take your seats. Now, for you, Odrin, these seats are fairly sort of small and a bit of a tight fit, to be honest. They're obviously not made to fit someone of your muscular proportions.
Yeah, so what I do is I push two of them together and sort of sit in the middle.
Excellent, okay. As you all sit down, Lord Drago, in a slightly weak and quailing voice, says, "Forgive me, I must seem a great disappointment to you. I was not always as you see me now. Once I was a proud and strong warrior, eager to serve my queen and country, but I fear those days are long past. I have called you here on a matter of grave urgency, but alas, I fear if I were to tell you," and he sort of like looks around. He's quite twitchy and he keeps glancing around himself as though he's worried about something. "But I fear if I were to tell you now what I know, you would think me quite mad."
Are you in need of last rites then?
He smiles and starts to speak, but he breaks off into a racking cough. No, nothing of the sort yet, but, well, you'll understand once you've seen. If you are willing, I have having heard Captain McCormack's report of the incident that occurred at Salazar's Tower and of your own small involvement in it, I would like to lay a small commission in front of you, if I may. And he gestures round at the tapestries hanging all around and the portraits. As you can see, despite the current misfortunes that bedevil me, I am a man of some means. And as he says that, you notice that his eyes sort of like glance down to where you've placed your big satchel of silver pieces, Sasha. I'm quite certain I could make this endeavour worth your while.
Well, what is this thing that you would have us do then?
It is a small matter. Have you heard, my pagan friend? Have you heard of Dirtmoor?
Have I, John?
It's from what little you've known, not being local. It's an area of moorland to the east, the southeast of Porthcrawl. If you go northeast, there is the Hexen Moor, and Dirtmoor is like another moor to the southeast.
Right, so probably not because I'm from the west, so that's the opposite of the places that I know.
Indeed.
Okay, so I shake my head. No, this place is not familiar to me.
It is an area of moorland and wetland to about a day and a half's ride from here. In the Dirtmoor, and I will excuse me, I will have my men give you directions and whatever supplies and mounts you need. And he waves his hand about. Within the Dirtmoor there is a circle of standing stones, and I made a discovery there, one that has changed my life. See, I was not strong enough to bear the knowledge that I have held. I'm rambling. Perhaps you do not see, but once you've travelled to the Dirtmoor, you will understand. If you agree to this commission, I will pay you 50 silver pieces each to travel to the Dirtmoor, and as I say, my men will give you provisions, horses, whatever you need, on the understanding that when you have visited the stone circle and when you have seen what I have seen, that you return here, and then we can discuss the matter further once you will not believe me addled when I tell you what it is I have to tell you, and then perhaps I will hire you for a greater work.
Sasha clears the throat. Am I understanding this correctly, my lord? You're willing to pay us each 50 silver a day to travel to see some standing stones and return here to you to further discuss it?
Not a day, but I will pay you each 50 silver pieces.
He picked up on that, huh?
Indeed.
She's trying to be sly.
I will pay you all 50 silver pieces to go to these standing stones and then return here for further discussion. After that,
I'm sorry.
After that, if you do not wish to accept further commissions from me, no more will be said. Return the horses and whatever provisions remain, and we will go our separate ways.
Well, when you when you say provisions, maybe you could help us with a special piece of equipment we've been looking for.
If it is within my power, what is this piece of equipment?
A crossbow. I don't know if any of your soldiers have crossbows, but we're looking for I think it's called a heavy crossbow.
Alas, I fear I do not have any heavy crossbows. After all, this is my home, not a fortification. But I believe we do have a number of light crossbow. Perhaps one of those would suffice.
Yes, that would be acceptable. Thank you. And she gives a little nod with her head to show him respect.
When you leave, speak to Captain McCormack, and he will make whatever arrangements are necessary. But before I instruct McCormack to give you your money, I must also ask a question, and it will seem a little bit odd to you, but I must ask you to bear with an old man's eccentricities. Do you have any lenses on you?
We have a spyglass.
If it's not too much of an imposition, might I see it?
I think William got it.
He has indeed.
It's on my brother, and he's not here.
More's the pity. Well, I must advise you, when you although it sounds odd, please believe me, when you reach the stones, look at the stones through your spyglass, and then count them. Count the number of stones. And as he says this, he breaks off into a racking and chesty cough.
Yes, we will do that. She looks sad, Ogren, kind of like, should we go?
Lord Drago Harper sort of waves a hand at you as though dismissing you, and between coughs says, "Speak to McCormack. He will make the necessary arrangements." And he brings out a small hanky and
Thank you, sir. She gets up and gives him a bow and picks up her satchel with coins and quickly leaves. She don't want to catch whatever he has.
Yep. I follow Sasha out, and I'm visibly excited at the prospect of going to this circle of standing stones. I've been giddy almost ever since Drago mentioned the standing stones. I'm rubbing my hands together as we go.
Okay, as you head out of the audience room, you can see that Captain McCormack is waiting in the antechamber outside. But for a few moments, we're going to jump across to William now. William, you've been looking around for a back entrance into the building. You do indeed, as you circle around it, find what appears to be a servant's entrance at the back of the building. You can see there is a single guard standing near the servant's entrance.
Yeah, I think I will do the classic throw a stone somewhere. What was that? And then drawing them back and sneaking in while he's not looking.
No problems, make your sneak roll. Okay, that is absolutely fine. You throw this stone into the bushes at the back of the house. There is a as it sinks into the bush. The guard grabs his spear and sort of runs over to investigate what the noise is, and you slip in through the back entrance. As you're sort of
sorry, but I'm not sure this dice spot rolled 2 times.
Just roll it again then.
I'm not just saying, because normally I have to roll 2 once. I don't want to cheat, because then I would never fail. And I fail.
Ooh, that's karma. Oh, it's gonna sting. Oh.
Okay, so what else happens is what I've just described does happen. The guard hears the sound. He goes to investigate the bushes. You're like, oh, here's my chance. You start slipping in through the door. Then as you're slipping in, you feel a hand grab at your shoulder from behind. The guard must have seen you out the corner of his eye and sort of softly padded over. You're perhaps too busy congratulating yourself on your stealth. You didn't hear him approach, and he slaps this sort of like gauntleted hand down on your shoulder, and he goes, "What have we got here then?" And he sort of like spins you around. You can see he's got his spear in his other hand.
William goes into serious mode, into not serious mode, and try to look as dumb as he possibly can. My sister's in there.
Wow, I like a looking story, and he sort of, since you're pretty much dressed as like what like a normal like village boy would be, he seems to assume that maybe you're just like a village lad who's got a little bit curious. He basically sort of escorts you away from the door, pushes you in the back, so you go like staggering away from the building, and he's like, "Go on, get out of it before I get the rest of the guards down here, and have you trooped back to your mother and father. Get back to the Porthcrawl with you."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But my sister.
Never mind all this malarkey about your sister. A likely looking story. Go on, get out of it with you.
Okay. And he would just put his head down and just stumble outside.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Meanwhile, back to the others. You're escorted out into this antechamber where Captain McCormack is waiting for you, as previously described. As you walk out, he looks at you and in quite a sort of official sounding tone says, "My lord has given me orders that I'm to furnish you with any supplies, mounts, etc. that you may require. If you'll give me a list, I'll see what I can do for you."
A list? Yes. Okay. She will open her other satchel, kind of turns her back to him so he won't accidentally spot her grimoire, and pull out a parchment and a pencil. So what do you think, Ogren? Horses?
Food.
Okay. So she rides horses, food, crossbow, bolts for crossbow, oil. She's not really sure, so just to be sure, she rides a 10-foot pole.
You see him sort of like raise his eyebrows as you mention a 10-foot pole. He's like, I'm not certain we have anything like that just lying about the premises. Okay. But the rest of it we can certainly manage.
Scratch that out.
Tinderbox. Tobacco.
An additional tent, maybe?
Shovel.
A showbow? What's a showbow?
Shovel.
I believe he means a digging implement, young woman.
Oh, shovel.
Yes.
So, okay, so I think William has one, but okay, we can have two. Shovel, a packing horse. We have lanterns. Do you have gunpowder?
We don't keep great stocks of it on the premises, as I'm sure you can imagine. Keeping a large amount of it in the same place is quite hazardous. We could potentially get you a small amount of it, although, given that you're going on a small trip and then you'll be back here, I don't see you'll be needing any great deal of gunpowder. It's not like you're facing down an army or anything.
There's royalists in the woods these days. Very dangerous.
Days. And we seem to use... You know what? I'm gonna write gunpowder, and you can give us whatever you feel is appropriate. Okay? She writes gunpowder.
Yes, fine, as you wish.
I think that's it. And she hands him the list.
Okay, and I want to suggest you do at this point in time, Dennis, is you put your list in the chat box, and obviously I will have a look at it, and he can give you, and I'll tell you what he can give you, rather than us have to read through it all.
Hang on, I'll make it neat.
Okay, so while you're sort of writing that down, obviously Captain McCormack is getting ready the provisions that you require, etc. And as you're leaving the premises, a Roundhead guard mounted on horseback, who seems to be in some urgency, rides up to the estate. He swings down from his horse and almost runs across to where Captain McCormack is, sort of leading you out. McCormack says, "Steady on there, man. What's your hurry?" The guard, who's red-faced and out of breath, is panting. He says, "Those royalist bastards, they've only gone and done it." "Done what? Speak plainly, son." "They started bombarding towns from the sea using the Royal Navy." McCormack turns back to yourselves and he says, "Forgive me, I must take this news to my lord immediately. Take your list and give it to the stable master around the left-hand side of the property. He'll get your provisions and see you safely on your way. Please, my apologies, but I must take this news to my lord."
Yeah. No problem. She takes list and looks at Ogren with a look in her eyes. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So she hurries over to the stable master if she can find him.
Okay, so you head to the stable master, and just to sort of make our way through this quickly, he's quite happy to provide everything on your list. Like I say, it will be a light crossbow. Mm-hmm. You will be given enough rations for 3 days for each of you. So that's all of you who are present at the meeting. So Odrin, Barden and yourself, Sasha, you each get 3 days worth of rations. He gives you a single pouch of tobacco each, a couple of shots worth of gunpowder each, a shovel, a tent, and he gives you a pack horse and 2 riding horses.
Great. she'll give the tobacco to Ogren, and she'll take the gunpowder.
Okay, excellent. As you've finished your business with the stable master and you're leading these horses out with the aid of Bardon, you can just see some small way in the distance William, who appears to be like walking away from the residence of Lord Harper.
Yeah, I'm still keeping my head down and trying to walk down outside the residence, just looking around shyly and waiting and looking around if I can see the others.
Okay, so after a few moments, you hear a sort of like clanking and the of horses, and you look around, surprised to see Sasha, Bardon, and Odrin heading sort of in your direction. Bardon's struggling to lead a large pack horse, and both Odrin and Sasha have a horse that they're leading along by the bridle, and what appears to be like a sack of some sort of goods over their shoulders.
I just make a look at Sasha and make the usual "is everything okay" sign. Just twitching my eye at her.
She smiles and nods. Oh, there you are.
He nods and would try to get out as fast as possible.
We need to leave town.
Can I hear them?
Yep.
I'm looking up and I look at if the guard is still there, which
the guard appears to have gone back to his station. He's keeping half an eye on you, but since you've not actually approached the building really since then, he doesn't appear bothered.
I will go to the other two.
It's okay. We are employed by his lordship.
We are?
We are. We have to go to some standing stones that Ogren seems to fancy a lot. But I got this for you, and she will rumble through the stuff and brings out a light crossbow, but still a crossbow, and hands it to him.
Oh, thank you.
And some bolts, I guess.
Yeah, there will be 10 bolts with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not a heavy crossbow, but they didn't have that.
I'm looking at it, and it looks almost like I know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to weight it, trying to look if it's would shoot straight, and if the bow would be able to, if I would be able to lock it and whatever. I'm just looking at this thing if it's usable.
Indeed, it appears to have been extremely well maintained.
Why not?
Bardon, do you still have that pistol I gave you?
Yes, of course. Miss Sasha really sort of takes it out of his belt and holds it up.
Good. I guess we're off then. I just need to pick up our stuff, and we're good to go. Apparently the royalists are attacking town, so let's get out of here.
But I'm still looking for Bill.
Well, if you wish to look for this bill, do they have a smith in town? I could visit them.
I mean, we're not gonna look for Bill in town while the royalists are attacking.
I will point out at this point, Sasha, that when you heard the soldier saying that the royalists have started attacking towns, he didn't specifically say Porthcrawl.
Ah, I thought they were in the harbour here and shooting in with cannons. Okay, my bad. Okay.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
You may have originally thought he meant Porthcrawl, but as you're sort of getting nearby, you're pretty sure that by now you'd have heard the sound of like cannon shots if Porthcrawl was being bombarded.
Okay. Okay, so we can look after Bill while we pick up the stuff and go warn Danny and Salazar. So, Bardon, you go to the inn and you will warn Salazar and Danny that the royalists are attacking towns, and they might come here. And I'll get our gear and get ready to leave, and William will look for Bill. I guess.
Bob Borden says, well, yes, of course I'll do that, Miss Sasha, but I'm not sure where my old master will go. After all, his home was destroyed. He's only staying at the inn because he doesn't really have anywhere else to go.
I know, but that we will leave that decision to him. Now he has the information. He can choose to react on it however he wants. And when you get back, I have a special little an elven leather armor, actually, I think would fit you.
He smiles widely when you say that and says, well, where shall I meet you afterwards once I've been to the Siren's Whisper?
Let's say we'll come to the Siren's Whisper when we're ready.
Oh, okay, then I'll see you all there. And he waves and he starts heading off.
I'm looking at them. I'm not sure what to think about this Bill. It looks like he wandered around this village a bit and then vanished to the north.
Oh.
I want to find out what his deal is. It seems he wasn't in the chambers beneath the church, though.
Beneath the church? Why would he be beneath the church?
Because I wanted to go there, and he seems to be doing stuff I would do. Not sure why, but it seems that way.
Oh.
Maybe he's at the destroyed tower.
Well, if he's doing the things, the actions that you want to take, shouldn't he be here with us?
Not sure. That's the only thing he deviates from me. I would normally not go alone. Not without you.
Where was this dirt moord we're going to? Was that to the north or south or east?
No, it's to the east.
Okay, just give me a moment, guys, and I'll show you on the map where it is.
Well, we're going to the east, not the north. Why would he go to the north, though?
Maybe to Salazar's tower.
But we already been there, and he wasn't there.
Yes, but we didn't look for him there.
Oh, so you think he's as sneaky as you?
Possible. He at least had my armor, so there's no reason to believe he's not.
Yeah.
The problem is, I'm not sure how to look for him.
No.
I just don't like the idea of having him sneaking around and pretending to be me.
Well, if we can't find him, and we can't do anything about him, because we can't find him, there's little reason to worry.
I would still at least try to look somewhere in the north if I can find some kind of sign from him, and if not, then I'm happy to go wherever you want to go.
Okay, guys, so you should now be able to see Dirtmoor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, how about if we encounter anyone traveling on the road that is non-hostile, we will ask them if they've seen a little fella looking like you.
I'm coming a bit closer. What's about the dungeon beneath the church? Didn't we want to go there?
Yes.
The the man up there, and I point towards the Harper Manor, he didn't really seem like he was in a hurry with us going to the standing stones, the holy stones, and then returning. And his health is obviously failing. His god has forsaken him, so he might well be dead already. So we are in no hurry in this task. So we might as well stop by the church and plunder it for all it's worth.
He sounds like a really dumb man. He gave you these horses and this crossbow and didn't say how long we...
Sasha looks a little dumbfounded at Ogrim.
No, I'm not saying it's our friend here. I'm talking about this Harper man.
Yeah. I had the feeling it was kind of urgent. It's kind of like a matter of life and death. Cough, cough, I'm dying. There's something here that I think will save me. Cough, cough.
He spoke nothing of extending his life. Or preventing death, for that matter.
But that's between the lines, Ogren.
What lines?
The lines that he is saying and the lines that he is not saying.
Maybe he just wanted to know something before he's dying.
Really?
I don't understand his lines, but if you wish to go to the stones and come back before he dies, we can do that. The church is going nowhere.
That's true. Still, can I at least take a look? Just give me like 2 hours.
That is very... I don't mind. And is there a smith in town? I could visit a smith.
Okay, well, we can, since it's a dungeon, and we really should not venture out now in the wilderness. I guess we could spend a day before we go.
Maybe find something useful.
Undoubted.
As you guys you're talking, obviously you're like walking through Porthcrawl while you're talking. You're just about getting to the Siren's Whisper by now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna step by here and pick up my stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. You spend a couple of minutes scooping your stuff up.
Yeah, we'll do that too.
No problems.
And then I would... Should we go into the dungeon then? In 2 hours' time. I will be back here. Just do whatever.
Yeah, but no, I don't think you should go down there alone.
Spend the money you got, something like that. Would you want to go with me?
I don't want to. I mean, but I think we have to.
Fine, I've got no problems with it. But I hope you don't scare him away.
But, okay. I don't think he's in the dungeon. I think that's wishful thinking on your part.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't. If he was, then he didn't leave any sign. And I would have. So... either he knows that I would looking for him because he somehow knows what I'm thinking, or he wasn't there. This is kind of weird for me, to be honest.
Maybe he is reading between your lines.
Yeah. To laugh.
I'm not looking too happy. I don't like my lines being read.
I worry that if we go down to the dungeon, things will go as last time we were in a dungeon, and we have to spend a lot of time getting over being in a dungeon.
We are more careful this time.
Are we though?
I am always. And as far as I know, I didn't go down, so...
Okay, we will go into the Siren's Whisper. We'll have a nice warm meal, and we'll decide after that. Okay?
Fine. He doesn't look too happy.
Let us feast.
Okay, so you all head into the Siren's Whisper. As you get in there, you can see the typically surly Brock is stood behind the bar. He's talking with his wife, Poppy. She looks up and nods at you as you enter. You can see Barden is sat with Salazar and his daughter, Darnie, at one of the two tables in the pub. As you enter, he stands up and he says, my friends, it is good to see you again. And how does this glorious day find you?
Good. Good, we have come for great feasting. What is... how are you? And how is your daughter?
I am well, and my daughter, as you can see, is fine, none the worse for her ordeals. Alas, I have still not been able to sort out any alternate lodgings for myself. It would appear that buildings that have the requirements that I need are in short supply in places such as Porthcrawl. I need a small measure of solitude and peace and quiet for my work, you understand. I do very delicate concoctions. It is very, as you have seen, and he looks at you from the unfortunate business of my tower. There are a great many ignorant people, and you see his eyes sort of flicker to the side and look at the barman and his good lady wife as he says this, who would not understand the great works that I seek to do.
I am in absolute agreement, O sage. It is my experience as well that the people here are dreadfully ignorant of the glory that is Dagon.
Indeed, I have found the case. Whilst there are good people in these lands, and they are kind to you if they believe they have nothing to fear from you, but the merest mention of alchemy or some of the tinctures that I brew would have one accused of witchcraft or worse in some ignorant backwaters.
Maybe you should ask Thackeray West. He lives isolated too, and I'm pretty sure most people don't look after him too.
Thackeray West? I do not believe I'm familiar with this person.
It's a lighthouse keeper. We met him before we got here.
I have heard people mention this lighthouse that you speak of. I have not been there myself. I had no reason to. That is a good idea, though, young man. Perhaps I will speak to this Thackeray and see if some sort of accommodation can be reached. I thank you for your counsel.
No problem. Just think of me when you brew something useful next.
Of course, sir. I am already grateful beyond words for what you've done for both myself and my daughter.
I know, and I would try to eat, but I'm not looking too happy. I'm looking like I'm inside all the time.
Cecil will give them their pay from our previous adventure. She will not divide the current 150 silver they got, but the 141 from last time. So we'll give them now.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes William, because I didn't note it on my sheet. So you have to do it, Johannes.
You can note it on your, if you want. Did you give me anything else beside the crossbow?
Not from this, but I posted what she bought for you.
I'm checking if I did write it down, but I'm not sure.
Otherwise, it's in the group.
As you're all sat there and you took into some fish stew and...
by the way, John, she also gave Barden 20 silver from her own stash.
Barden takes the 20 silver off you and he says, are you sure, miss?
Yes.
This is more money than I've ever had.
Well, you're part of the Luck Adventuring Company, so...
You saved all?
He smiles and stands up a little bit straight and sort of puffs out his chest a little bit. The Darnie walks around the table and then says, "Yes, I'm very grateful for you, young man, for bringing me back safely to Porthcrawl." And she gives him a little peck on the cheek, which when his face immediately goes bright red and he sort of like looks down at his shoes as though he doesn't really know what to say. Darnie just chuckles to herself and then sits back down next to her father, who sort of gives her one of those sort of slightly disapproving parent looks. As you're all continuing your conversation, having a bit of fish stew, watered down beer, etc., you eventually become aware of what appears to be shouting in the street outside. You see Brock walks over to the door and he's like, "The bloody hell's all that noise out there?" And he pokes his head out the door. Then he shuts the door and comes back in. Poppy says, What is it, husband? What's going on?" He says, "Oh, it's just old Birdwell and the captain having at each other again. I expect they'll get tired of it and quiet down eventually."
The captain? I turn to Sasha. Do you think that's the same captain that we just talked to?
I have to, I guess. How many captains can there be in a small village?
And I'm gonna go to the door and take a look at what's going on outside.
Okay, you peer out of the door and you see what appear to be two men squaring up to each other outside. Neither of them is the captain of the Lord Harper's guards, Captain McCormack. One of them is a man with long plaited grey hair and a long grey moustache. He looks sort of slightly advanced in years, and he's standing opposite a slightly more flamboyant figure who's wearing a large floppy hat with a big feather out of it. He also has a grey beard, but his is sort of massive and bushy and tied with gold ringlets and jewellery beaded throughout it. He's wearing ridiculously clashing colours in his clothes. As you peer out of the window, you hear him say, "Look, I don't know what your problem is, Bird. Well, I think you'll find I'm a licensed privateer. It's all legal and above board." At which point the grey moustached figure looks back at him and he goes, "You're a pirate, Birdwell, and that's all there is to it. Why, if I was a younger man, I'd have you run out of town." At which point Birdwell, with his bushy beard, laughs. The rings in his beard jingle and he says, "Well, yes, if you were a younger man, but you aren't, are you? Are you going to start something here, Hayes?" At which point the other man, with a grim set cast to his face, he goes, "You know damn well I'm not Birdwell. You just stay out of my way." At which point the two of them sort of storm off in the opposite directions to each other. Birdwell, the flamboyant privateer, heading towards the north of the town, and the man identified as Hayes heading to the southern end of the town.
Did they have like henchmen, or were they alone?
They appeared to be alone.
Huh. Well, I make a note of them, and actually I step outside to see if there are any like remarkable vessels in any of the nearby shores, if we can see them from here.
You can see there's mostly like sort of sailing vessels and small rowing boats. However, there is a small two-sailed vessel in the docks that you don't remember seeing previously.
Right. So I make a note of if they have any special insignia on their. Well, if they have a flag, I try to remember that, but otherwise it's going to be their sails.
Okay, there doesn't appear to be anything particularly special in terms of a flag they're flying. However, the sails each have what appears to be a yellow or golden hoop or ring etched on them.
Right. I make a note of that and head back in to the table.
Okay.
And I come back there and I finish the rest of my watered down ale in one go. And I lean over, like slightly conspiratorially, and I go, I believe I have just seen a man who, perhaps unwittingly, honors Dagon in his crude ways. He's a man of the sea, and he carries the sea gold on his very beard. This could be an ally for us, or, well, a useful way to get a ship if we want to go and embrace Dagon.
What do you suggest then? Do you want to go drinking with him?
Well, if you had other plans, I might as well do that. If you were headed for the church.
I still want to look for me.
That is a larger task than you might realize, young man.
Maybe, but I will just have to try.
You will have to consume many an herb and mushroom before you finish. I nod sagely. I did it myself when I was younger.
No, I meant Bill.
As you're having this conversation, you see like Borden sort of like looking backwards and forwards between you as each of you is talking, his mouth sort of hanging open in a confused manner.
Yeah, I pat William on the shoulder and I say, as soon as you become a man and you find yourself, you're more than welcome, I imagine, among even these people, to choose your own name. So if you wish to be Bill, a Bill you will be, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
Sasha giggles and smiles. Okay, we need to decide. We can't do all of these. So, and since we kind of agreed to go and see these stones, maybe that's what we should do. I mean, as we said, the dungeon isn't going anywhere, and unless this place is overrun by Rawlers when we come back, we can go then.
Let me just check. I will check when you're finishing with this golden beard guy.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
What is... I guess we could... I mean, could we do it like he goes out drinking and William goes out seeking, and we'll do a montage style?
We most certainly can. You want a sort of Porthcrawl exploration and drinking montage, we can certainly arrange that.
I would only explore the northern part of Porthcrawl. Trying to kill Bill.
Tessa's gonna stay here with Barden though. At the inn.
Okay, so if I'm sort of getting this correctly, we've got Odrin is going to go looking for Birdwell, the privateer.
Yeah.
We have William, who's going to go to the north looking for Bill.
Exactly.
And you're going to chill in the Siren's Whisper, is that correct, Sasha?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So, in this montage that takes place over the next few hours, William, you explore the sort of northern end of the town of Porthcrawl, so between the Harper family residence, the town hall, you sort of wander around, but is there anything particular you're doing to search for Bill?
The most obvious thing would be asking the local residents if they saw someone looking like me maybe half a day ago.
Again, you come across a few people who say they saw someone sort of heading out of the northern end of the city that matched your description and looked a bit like you, but you don't really find anything new since the last time you asked about people.
But I found anyone in the northern part who saw him.
Yeah, there's a couple of people in the northern part of Porthcrawl, locals, who tell you they saw what they assumed was you, based on the fact you stood there, leaving the town via the northern road.
Okay, so then I would try to go there in the remaining time so that I can be back after a couple of hours.
Okay, no problem. We'll deal with that momentarily. Okay, so Odrin, you are going looking for Mr. Birdwell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ask around a bit and you indeed find that his house is south of the fishmongers in Porthcrawl, just to the south of an old boat warehouse that apparently Mr. Birdwell owns. And as you approach the house, you can see that it's actually quite a fine house. It's not an expansive manor like that belongs to Lord Drago Harper, but the person who lives there, this Birdwell, this privateer, must have like a fair bit of money to his name.
Mm-hmm.
As you're approaching the building, you can see there are lanterns burning inside it.
Is there anyone outside?
There doesn't appear to be.
Right, so I think does the Siren's Whisper sell ale by the bottle, or maybe even a casket?
Normally they'd sell ale by the casket or the barrel. They wouldn't sell it via bottles. They might have some wine in bottles, but as you know, they only tend to really have wine and good stuff when it's been imported in inverted commas.
Yeah, by Thackeray.
Indeed.
Yep. So I'm probably carrying a cask of ale with me as I go to the house, and I bang on the door.
Okay, after a few moments banging, you hear a voice from inside say, "Who's that out there?"
It's a friend and a cask of ale.
There's a slight sound of sort of bumping and knocking around and things being moved. The door opens and you see this flamboyant figure with his wild mane of hair and this massive bushy beard with gold rings, and he says, "Well, why didn't you say so? Come on in, man."
And I do.
Okay, not a problem. He leads you inside this quite cluttered building. There's all manner of naval memorabilia and odd bits and pieces lying around, as though this person must be like a bit of a hoarder. But he leads you in, he gestures for you to sit down in one of these battered but comfy looking armchairs.
So I witnessed your role in the town there just now, I say as I break open the gasket and probably grab some ornate mugs from the top of one of the overstacked shelves and start to fill them.
"Oh yes, that," he says. "Well, there's some people like Captain Hayes just can't accept that people have changed. Yes, I may have committed a few small indiscretions in my youth. What man on the high seas hasn't? But well, I'm all legal and above board now. I accepted the royal pardon years ago."
And I hand him one of the mugs.
He takes it off you and slurps this foaming ale noisily, the spray of it settling on his beard. And then he says, "Tell me anyway, what brings a strange-looking fellow like you to the door of old Peter Birdwell?"
I noticed you are fairly affluent, and I think I recognize the old sea gold in your in your beard.
He runs a hand through his beard, and you can see that his fingers have also got numerous rings on them that clatter as he runs his fingers down his beard. And he says, "Well, yes, the sea's been good to me, of that there's no doubt over the years, but she's a deadly and a cunning mistress, she is. I've known many men who've perished and sank beneath the deep, but not old Birdwell. I've had the good fortune to keep on doing what I do, and doing what I do well."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you do much sailing these days?
Well, not as much as I used to in my youth. Sailing something of a young man's game. I've moved more into the ship ownership racket now, rather than actually sailing them myself. I have people to do that for me, but it's a very lucrative business, trading, moving people about, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't quite get the thrill I did in my youth, swinging from deck to deck and up in the rigging, etc. But, well, when one gets to my years, the body can't quite stand up to the punishment it once did. And he slurps this beer again.
I may have something for that. Because Sasha made me take off all my Dagonite pendants. I take one of them from my pocket and I hold it out to him, this golden fish necklace.
You see it as you hold out some gold towards him, his eyes widen, and in the flickering light of the lantern they seem to reflect the gleam of the gold. And he takes it off you, he tests it in his teeth, and then says, "Why, well, I'm not sure what I've done to deserve such a gift, but thank you very much, and may the blessings of the sea be with you," he says, and he drops the necklace around his own neck, sort of like having to lift his beard up in order to fit it round.
Oh, they most certainly are, good friend. And I think they are with you too. And let this be the first of many of these evenings, as I believe me and my friends might have use of your ships and your good fortune on the sea eventually.
Well, if you're ever looking in return for this little trinket, he says, and he touches the necklace that's resting underneath his beard. If you need passage somewhere, let me know. I have one of my ships in the harbour at the minute, the Rose. You won't find a faster ship on the seas, young man.
Very good. Well then, let's drink up and share stories of the sea. I have a few you should hear.
Well, talk on then, man, talk on.
And I think our montage probably continues from there.
Indeed, this will be where we sort of fade out with the background music coming in as you no doubt preach the word of Dagon to Peter Birdwell. And he'll also share quite a lot of his tales of the sea. From what he tells you, just to summarise it, you gather he was basically a pirate in his youth, sort of a fairly sort of bloodthirsty and profiteering pirate. When he started getting a little bit advanced in years, though, he accepted the royal pardon and became a licensed privateer to prey on the enemies of Havenland. And then once his age really started catching up with him and he couldn't really do what he loved out on the sea, he settled into Porthcrawl, purchased a boat warehouse here and moved into sort of more mercantile operations. Okay, so whilst that's going on, we move over to Sasha and Barden, along with, of course, Darnie and Salazar, still in the Siren's Whisper. Now, in your portion of this montage, Sasha, is there anything in particular you're hoping to do?
Yes, she's gonna give Barden the elven leather armor they found in the elven dungeon.
Okay, he beams from ear to ear as he takes the leather armour off you. And remind me, how many coins was it you actually gave him?
20.
Okay, lovely.
So, since you're gonna be a real member of the company, I think you should have a real armour.
He smiles as you're sort of helping him put this armour on. And he does seem to sort of like stand up a little bit straighter as you're like tightening the straps on this leather armour. Like I say, he's got the biggest smile you've ever seen on his face.
Oh yeah, she says with him, I think it looks good on you. What do you think, Donnie? Doesn't he look like a real man now?
Donnie smiles and in a voice says, well, I've heard it say that clothes do make the man, and yes, he certainly looks very impressive in that armour. At which point again Barden goes a little bit sort of red around the cheek area.
And that's otherwise you'll just chill
You
really
see,
just be happy not being out in the rain or anything. So she'll enjoy her little time off while William is off chasing shadows and Ogren is off chasing the bus.
Salazar looks across disapprovingly and he says, well, there'll be nothing served by arming up young men and sending them out to war. You'd be far better off staying as my apprentice, young Barden. But, well, if that's what you wish, then I'm not going to stand in your way.
Well, we're not sending him to war. She looks at him with a disapproving look.
At which point, Donnie sort of puts a hand on her father's arm and says, oh, Father, I know you're against violence in all its forms, but as the young lady says, they're not sending young Master Barden off to war. They simply want him to be able to protect and defend himself. Don't spoil this moment for him, Father. At which point Salazar sort of like huffs a little bit, and folds his arms, but he goes quiet.
Okay.
Okay, so we then jump back to William. William, you've headed to the northernmost edge of Porthcrawl.
Exactly.
On the North Road, you've noticed that you've been encountering far less people as you've been sort of heading out of the village proper. In the distance on the North Road, you can see the ruins of Salazar's tower in the distance.
Yeah, I think I would try to go there.
Okay, not a problem. You head there. They're much as you remember them. They're tumbled down. I'll put the map up just to give you a reminder.
Okay.
They're much as you remember them. The stonework is cracked and littered everywhere. There is the unmarked gravestone that you encountered on your previous visit.
Since I already checked this place, the near vicinity, I would try to go inside and check if there are any chalk markings and if I can find anything else inside the tower, which I did miss last time because I did only look for potential threats outside.
Okay, as you're looking around the inside of the tower, you indeed come across what appears to be a flagstone sort of here that has been moved aside and appears to lead to some sort of subterranean cellar. You hadn't noticed it previously, but it looks as though someone has lifted the flagstone off and moved it.
Okay. I would try to listen on just press my ear against it and try to listen downwards if I can hear anything.
Okay, you place your ear to the hole and you try and listen, but you can't really hear anything in particular.
Okay. I would try to open it with my 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that's fine. You take out your 10-foot pole. Like I said, the flagstone's already been moved to the side, so you wouldn't have to move it again to drop down, if that was what you wished.
But maybe there's a trap or whatever. And I'm trying to open it, the hatch itself, and I would go down afterwards, or looking down first.
Okay, you tap with your 10-foot pole down through the hole. You can hear it hitting what sounds like stone at the bottom. You tap around. There doesn't seem to be any traps or anything obvious. You can see it's quite dark down there. There's obviously not much light getting in. Are you dropping down or?
I think I would take a look. I would pull out my gloomback lantern and shake it a bit, and then try to head down at least a few steps and just look if there's anything of interest down there.
Okay. That's absolutely fine. Just give me a moment and I will show you the map of what's down there. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that now.
It's pitch black.
As usual.
I think you highlighted for me because Sasha appears in a room.
Oh, right, okay. Hold on a sec.
I can't see anything.
Oh, yeah, I know what I've done. Just give me a moment. How about now?
I can see it now.
Splendid. Okay, so as you drop down, you can see you're in what appears to be a small, square stone cellar. However, as you shine your Gloombug lantern around, it reflecting this eerie sort of green light, you can see that at the far end of the chamber that you're sort of facing towards, there is what appears to be a hole in the wall, as though someone had sort of like knocked out the masonry, and there's what appears to be a cavern or some sort of tunnel beyond it.
Okay. I would try to move as quietly as possible to this position and try to shine my light inside and look around.
Okay, you shine your lantern around and you can indeed see that there appears to be a larger natural cavern beyond the cellar. It's as though either Salazar or someone else has come down into this cellar and then realising there was like a cavern connected to it, they've deliberately knocked through the wall to gain access to it. You can see the marks around this tunnel are fairly recent, so whoever did the knocking through of the wall must have done it not too long ago, and you can see there's bits of rubble and stone lying at your feet where the impromptu work took place.
Was this done before or after the tower burnt down? Assumedly.
Difficult to say. You would say perhaps afterwards, and as you're sort of looking around, you're shining your lantern down at this rubble, you can see that the way the rubble's fallen, it actually looks rather as though something sort of dug through from the other side, from this cavern, rather than someone in the cellar digging into the cavern.
Interesting. I'm looking for chalk marks again, and can I see whatever this is? Is this just rubble?
You can't see any sign of chalk mark. However, as you shine your Gloombug lantern around, you see what appears to be a dark red stain on the floor.
I would try to go closer again.
Okay.
And look around.
As you inch,
Sneaking.
Yeah, that's fine. As you inch closer, shining your lantern around, you can see there are a number of puddles of this red fluid on the floor.
I know how blood smells. Does this smell like blood?
There's a very faint smell, so the blood must have dried, but there is a slight coppery smell in the air, which you know to be the smell of blood.
Can I see any signs to where whatever left this blood may be now? Some drops of blood leading in some direction or something?
Not at the moment. I mean, obviously, you can only see a portion of it. If you step in, you'll obviously see more because your light is restricted.
Go a little bit closer, but not stepping in it.
Okay, as you look, you can see there are marks on the floor in this blood, as though something was dragged through the blood and into this smaller passageway to your right as you walk in.
I would try to dim my lantern a bit, maybe holding a hand before it so I don't draw too much attention, and would try to go in this direction slowly.
Okay, you dim your lantern and you start following the trail. You can see a very, very narrow passageway that appears to break off from this cavern and head further into the darkness. You can see there are spots of blood and occasional drag marks along the floor.
I think I would just look around if I see if someone maybe dropped something or left a mark somewhere or something like that.
Sorry, say again. You cut out for a second.
I would just look around and see if someone maybe dropped something or made a mark somewhere or anything like that?
You can't see anything like that. All you can really see is this like occasionally broken trail of blood.
Okay, fuck it. I'm going in there. I would try to crawl through this narrow tunnel. I'm just curious.
Okay, the going is quite difficult. The rocks are quite jagged. There's no real sort of skill that's been used to like hew out this tunnel. It looks fairly natural. It widens and narrows in odd places, and you're pretty much having to almost like crawl through this tunnel. So holding your lantern close to you, so it's quite difficult going. How something or someone could have dragged something through here is beyond you.
Okay. So should I just move my token?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I can follow the trail a bit.
Okay, as you're moving through, the tunnel narrows to a point where even your small size, you have to sort of slither through with one arm held out ahead of you to be narrow enough to get through. Then it widens slightly. The trail's starting to become a little bit fainter, as though whatever was bleeding that it was being dragged, like the blood flow was stopping, or maybe it was drying, you're not sure. As you're moving through this tunnel, in the distance you can hear this.
Okay, I would ready my crossbow and stretch it. And very, very slowly move.
Okay, make your move. Okay, as you're slowly moving up, you can hear this.
Can I somehow identify what this may be?
It sounds, although it's echoing strangely in the confines of this small natural corridor, it sounds for all the world like something chewing.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it is an animal or something, but it should be. I think I'm just... do I try? Nah, I'm not trying it. I'm crawling back. This isn't what I was looking for.
Okay, can you make me a sneak roll as you crawl back?
Sure.
You will be at a -2 penalty because it's quite difficult to sneak when you're having to like crawl a lot of the way.
Okay. Then I'm rolling something I have 4 and it's which is climb. Success.
Okay, that's fine. You make your way back. Are you heading up and out of the cellar?
Yeah, I'm going out. I'm just leaving a mark there, something like be aware animal or something, and then I would just leave again. And when I'm out, I would try to mark the backside of the tombstone with something in my old language, something like, if Bill reads this, if you want to meet me, I will be back at Porthcrawl in 10 days.
Okay, so would you like
and then
to
I will go back to the
Would you like
Porthcrawl.
to use the Would you like to use the drawing tool to show where you're making a mark down in this sort of like underground area?
I'm sure.
Just pick like a bright colour like yellow or something.
Yeah, I think I would just mark this wall here. Does it stay? I moved myself
yeah.
backwards. Yeah, I can see it now. Can't see it in the fog of war, it seems. Okay. Somewhere there.
And you're basically...
I can also write it down.
Yeah, that's grand. So just like make a note next to it of what you're writing.
Dangerous animal. Is it there?
Yes, it's there. I can see it.
Ah, I'm moving it where I can see it. I left it in a black so I can't see anything. So. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to move you back to the Salazar's Tower map.
And I would mark the back side of this tombstone too.
Yeah, feel free to mark that.
And text. That's what I'm writing down. And then I will go back to Porthcrawl.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So I'll go back to the Porthcrawl map. I'll put you there.
Going back to the Siren's Whisper.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to momentarily jump over to Odrin. You've been obviously chatting away with this old privateer, Peter Birdwell. You've pretty much drunk all the liquor you've taken. You've been telling stories for ages. He seems to be receptive to what you're saying about Dagon. You get the feeling that he's not like an active worshipper of Dagon, but he's someone who's got a great deal of respect for the sea and how you can get a lot of benefits from it, but it can also be a very treacherous mistress, as he calls it. So he's not an out-and-out worshipper, but he's someone who's spent his life on the sea, and he's learnt to respect it a great deal.
Yeah, it's not really my because he's not like a straight-up worshipper. It's not really my intent to even just convert him. I'm just confirming that he doesn't disagree with me, that he is not one of those people.
He most certainly doesn't, and as you're talking to him, you get the feeling that whereas a lot of people who are sort of like quite close-minded, they're sort of like, oh, pagan devilry, as soon as you start talking about Dagon, you get the feeling that he's travelled quite extensively, he's probably come into contact with other belief systems, and while he's not saying, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up to Dagon, pass me the fish and the robes, he's like, oh, you know, however you want to worship, as long as it's not interfering with me, that's absolutely grand.
Yeah, and I offer my services if he wants his ships to have like additional fortune. I offer my services for like rites and sacrifices before they leave the dock.
Well, now you mention it, one of my ships, the Rose, and he's getting a little bit drunk by this point. He says, the Rose, you remember me mentioning her earlier?
Yeah, the Rose, yes.
It does so happen that after I won't call it a battle, a small skirmish, she is down several crew members. Why, if you were looking for employment on the Seven Seas, I could certainly put in a good word for you, a strong, strapping fella like yourself.
It is something I have dreamed of, but there's a thing I need to do on the land before I can go out to the sea, but I will keep you in mind and this offer as well.
Well, that's absolutely fine. Now we're friends. I'm here at the house or in the town most evenings. Like I say, unfortunately, with my age, I can't be out on the seas as much as I like at the moment. But I can't guarantee how long the Rose will be in port. But while she's there, if you need someone to put in a word of recommendation to the captain, I do have a certain amount of influence in that regard, since I own the bloody ship. But anyway, I'll let you get back to your business. But like I say, don't forget my offer, young man.
I won't. Okay, well, Dagon's blessing, good fortune, etc.
Indeed, may the wind always be with you, my friend.
Yep, and I stumble out the door.
Okay, I presume you're also heading back to the Siren's Whisper.
Yeah.
Okay, no problems. So, Sasha, you're there with Barden, Darnay, Salazar, etc. Probably about maybe an hour later, William comes walking in. Then about half an hour after that, the door's like flung open and a very like inebriated looking Odrin staggers in.
Okay. I just noticed that she has an extra short sword too. So if Barton doesn't have melee weapons, you'll also give him that.
He only really has his small dagger, so he gratefully accepts the short sword off you.
Then it shall be his.
Splendid. Okay, so you've all met up back at the Siren's Whisper. Over to you.
She looks around when Will comes back. Oh, see, you didn't find Bill.
Not really, but I found something else. Is Salazar still there?
Salazar is still there. He's sat at the same table as you guys. He's talking to his daughter in a language that you don't understand.
I would bow to him and say,
That's rude.
Whatever. I would just say, do you know about your second entrance in your tower?
He turns to you and he genuinely looks confused, and then he says, "I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean. I believe that I'm hoping that the cellar survived under my tower, but I've not yet had the time to go back there. I've been mostly concentrating on searching for alternate lodgings, especially since my daughter was returned to me. I can't have her spending her time in the ruins of that place."
Let's just say the basement is still somewhat intact, and this seems like someone broke from the outside a wall and leading into a cavern.
Well, I had heard rumours that there were caverns in the cliffs around these areas, but I didn't know any of them connected to my tower.
I heard something chewing inside there, so maybe there's an animal or something in there, so be careful if you want to, and just want to look yourself. I marked the tunnel where I heard it.
Well, thank you very much for your warning. I certainly shall take care. It is my hope that once I've secured lodgings for myself and my dear daughter, that I will hire some men and we will go back there, and I will hopefully be able to retrieve some of the tools of my craft, some of the supplies I had stored in the cellar. Now, William, you know that when you were in that cellar, there were like no supplies in that cellar.
Yeah.
Chewing. She raises an eyebrow, like we heard from the thing on the beach.
Did sound a little bit like that.
Well,
That kind of chewing, William?
I didn't go too close. I didn't want to get chewed on too.
She looks at Salazar. Would it be possible there will be one more of those abominations beneath your tower?
I don't see how those and he says a word in a language you don't understand, but you guess from Darnay's reaction, and if she looks, and it's probably a swear word. Those royalists, they only brought one of the creatures to me. I don't see how they could have snuck another in without me being aware of it.
There was quite a bit of dried blood down there, and no supplies I could see. Someone moved the entrance, the blockage from the entrance.
Salazar says, I have heard tell that there are smugglers who use those caves. Perhaps they have taken my supplies. And he sort of, again, he swears in this foreign language.
Sasha feels a little guilty, just a tad, about the tower situation. Like in the far distance of her mind, there's a pang of guilt. And she looks at Will. Can we get to it?
Why should we? You mean traveling outside?
I think if there is one of these, what did you call it, Salazar? Genies?
They are known as Jinn in my homeland.
What one more of these gins? I'm sure. Maybe we could dispose of it.
And to what gain? Finding what it chewed on?
Yeah. No.
Well, it was a very narrow passage. I had to crawl through there. And for whatever reason, whatever dragged could go there pretty easily, so should not be that easy to dispose of it.
So if you have trouble getting through the passage, maybe we could lure it to the passage, and maybe it could get stuck in the passage, and we could shoot it in the head.
We could try. I mean, but currently it's hard to lure because it has food.
I'm sure we can find some blood.
It has blood? You could try. I'm not seeing why we should, but maybe it's chewing on Bill. That's the only thing I could think why I would try to do that.
Well, maybe it would be chewing on Bill. So we should go look.
Fine, but
he saw her in and took it.
Well, okay. It shouldn't take that long.
In her mind, this is what Locke would have done.
Well, it's the question you always want to be asking when there's danger about. What would Locke do?
Exactly.
Okay, whatever. And I'm just waiting till someone said we should go.
And if there are tunnels that the smugglers use, maybe we can find Salazar's missing tools and herbs and stuff.
Maybe. I don't look too interested.
That would be useful for you, right, Salazar?
Well, yes. Any of my herbs or my tinctures that could be recovered would be of great use to me.
Maybe we should make a list what he owes us now. But okay.
But what do you say, Ogren? Are you up for some genie hunting?
Yes. As soon as I dispose of these spirits right here, I chug my way.
Not a problem. You get your chug on. You notice that like the normally surly Brock, who's like stood over in the corner, just goes, and he like nods in your direction.
I made a friend.
Speaking of that, how much oil do we have? Well, do we have enough?
I've got 4. I've got my gloombug 4 glasses of them, and a full gloombug lantern.
Yeah, but we need oil to burn.
I've got caltrops.
Yes, still oil to burn.
That's stuff you had to buy.
Okay, how much did I get you? I got you 5 flasks. Fine. Okay, well, let's gear up and be off.
Okay, so you're all planning on heading to the ruins of Salazar's tower, is that correct?
Yes, and once more, Battle Lagoon.
Yeah, maybe we should take Salazar with us?
Yeah. No, sharks, whatever. So I'll put on the pikeman armor and all the pistols with the stuff, the rapier, all that shit. Would it be okay with the... They still have the room here, right? Could
That's
we
correct.
stash our surplus here?
Donnie says, "Oh yes, of course. Given all that you've done for us, it's the least we can do. Please." And she sort of opens the room, like the one room that the inn has, and just says, "But please leave your equipment anywhere you see fit."
Yeah, I'm just taking my weapons in the typical travel gear, but I won't take any rations or something like that with me.
Yeah, I'll dump all the bedrolls, all the shirts and clothing and all that. So I'll keep the lantern and the weapons and the magical healing pies.
Okay.
Yeah, keep my rope and the spikes and stuff like that. And my poles, of course.
Okay, so if you're all heading to the ruins of Salazar's Tower, you said you were thinking of taking Salazar with you. Are you taking Barden with you?
Yeah, of course, Barden's coming. He's part of us.
Okay.
Salazar could know something. It could be helpful.
Okay, in which case I will swap them up over to the ruins of Salazar's Tower.
Hey, I'm already there.
Well, you know exactly where to go.
Fast travel.
I'm just saying because we would go past the tombstone. If someone would inspect it, you could see these markings. But only if. I just point to the hedge.
Indeed, so as you're all stood around, William points to where this flagstone has been moved aside.
Okay,
Yeah.
before we go in, Sasha will go over to Barden and just check his pistol that it's loaded correctly and all that.
Indeed, he does have his pistol loaded. You can see, as you're looking around, all of you, that Salazar's sort of like walking around it. Occasionally he tuts to himself, and he has a very sad, almost like he's about ready to break into tears, look on his face as he surveys the ruins of his once home.
Sasha tries to ignore him.
Will you come down with us? I would ask you, Salazar.
Yes, of course, if you think I'll be any help.
It could be. You could maybe identify your thing, or maybe you see something we miss.
Well, yes, then of course I'll try and help you as best I can, he says.
Just stay back until we call for you.
Yeah. Barden, you will stay back and protect him.
Yes, of course, Miss Sasha.
And I would try to shake my gloom-bug lantern again and head down.
Okay, it lights up with this green glow as you hear this like zzz, 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 as these gloom bugs start moving around in your lantern. Okay, is anyone else taking a lantern down with them?
She has one, but she will not light it up.
I guess I could carry a lantern around, maybe.
Yeah, the big question is if should we waste our oil that, because we already have one.
Oil is cheap, so.
Yeah, but it's your call, Zayn.
Okay, Sasha will hand Ogren the lantern she has with her.
Right. So I burp and I set about lighting the lantern.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. I'm just setting you all up on the next map.
As they go down, Sasha will say to them, okay, remember we will try to trap it so we can shoot at it without it hitting us.
I'm still not sure how you want to accomplish this, but okay. I'm not a hunter.
Well, last time it just launched at us, so I'm guessing we can try to do that again.
Okay, I'm hoping you can all see the map now.
Yes.
Okay, splendid. As described previously, you're in this small cellar. You can see that a tunnel has effectively been holed out in the wall opposite you as you drop down. Barden helps the old man Salazar down. Yes, that one.
Okay, I would just lead them to where I found the small tunnel with my markings and point at the blood on the floor.
And this tunnel wasn't there before, Salazar?
No, I've not seen it before. It must have been done recently. And at this point, I'm going to ask each of you to roll a d6 for your initiative, just so we've got the order ready in case we need it.
Sure.
Just in case we need it. We don't need it.
Of course not.
So slow.
You're perfectly average.
Okay, and would someone like to make me a roll for the NPCs?
Compared to everyone else, I'm slow.
Okay, Dennis, would you roll me a d6 for the NPCs?
Yes. Should I roll 2 or they share the same?
They'll share the same. Okay, so I'm going to move you all to where William is showing you the blood and the tunnel that leads off, and then we'll be on initiative order.
The blue, is that water or
It's the wall.
walls? Okay.
I point at the narrow passage. I couldn't almost get through, so Audra would have no chance getting through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Barden could squeeze through better than I, but yeah.
You notice Barden doesn't look incredibly keen on that idea.
Well, you're about the same size.
So, what's the plan?
She goes over here. So this is where you hit the...
Yeah, the munching.
Can she hear anything?
If you strain your ears, you can just about hear a sort of distant sound, but it's very difficult to tell what it is at this distance.
And what's down here? Yeah, as well goes over here.
I don't know.
Should we check that out first?
Okay, as you're moving in that direction, you can smell the sea.
Just in case, I would go over there and throw some caltrops on the floor. So the entrance is blocked in case this monster would crawl out behind us.
That's fine.
I just draw down something grey there.
Lovely.
Maybe you could check out what's down here.
Yeah, I will scout ahead. I just whisper and would try to move with as little light as possible.
Okay, feel free to move yourself. Okay, as you shine the light further in, you can see that what appears to be a large hole in the edge of the caves, and as you peer down, you can actually see it appears to drop down a long way into the sea. You're effectively like poking out of a hole in the cliff face. You can see the waves crashing against the side of the cliff below.
So this is 10 feet across?
That's just the bottom of the map. Effectively, you can see just like the sea beyond that. You see the sort of the dark blue texture here.
So it just drops down and there's nothing behind it?
No, it's just the sea stretching out as far as the horizon.
There's like a 50-foot drop here, right?
It's a good deal, a lot further down than 54, but yes, it's a very big drop.
Can I see something like hooks on the stones or something that would indicate someone climbed down there?
Not as far as you can see, no.
I just shrug and come back. There's a cliff and nothing else.
Curious.
You hear Salazar say, "Well, I knew that my tower was close to the edge, but I had no idea it connected to it."
The edge?
The edge of the cliff.
But if someone stole your things, where did he go? Did he just jump down a cliff?
No one says they went down here with the stuff. They could have taken them up. which would be the
Yeah.
obvious thing.
Could be.
Well, it has been a long time since my tower was destroyed, says Salazar. It's quite possible someone could have found the entrance to the cellar and taken all of the things and been long gone by the time anyone had come back. And then as he's saying that, he accidentally treads in some of the blood, and you see him, a look of panic on his face as he tries to wipe his sandal on the floor.
Well, I would just try to collect my caltrops carefully again. Then look after the monster?
Yes. So you'll go over to him.
I just collect caltrops, as I said. I delete them again.
Okay,
Master appears.
at this point, I'm going to ask you all to stop.
Okay. Did I collect all my caltrops already, or didn't I?
Yeah, you've collected your caltrops. As you're midway through collecting them, so obviously the lantern's there. As you're collecting them, you see what appears to be a human, but very sort of bestial face, as something's crawling through the passageway, no doubt attracted by the noise and the light that you guys have been throwing out. It looks up at you, and you can see this sort of clammy, grey-skinned humanoid with incredibly long arms. You can see one of its arms is forward, and these long fingers are reaching out as it was trying to quietly crawl through this tunnel towards you. But obviously, you picking up your caltrops, you've spotted it.
Okay. I think I would just back up. And is it okay if crossbow is still cocked?
Yeah,
Still drawn?
that's fine. You guys knew you were going into a
I would
potentially
try to
dangerous
shoot it with
situation.
my crossbow then, if this would be possible.
Okay, well, it's got the same initiative as you, these will be happening
Hello?
simultaneously. Yeah, that's fine. You can shoot your crossbow. It's got the same initiative as you, so its action and yours will be happening simultaneously. But for convenience, we'll have you roll yours first.
Okay. Because the light crossbow reduces the armor class of the enemy by 2, I would give me a +2 bonus.
That's
If
fine.
that's okay. 14 with 1 damage.
Okay, so your crossbow bolt does hit it, and it scores a shallow mark on its shoulder. You see a little trickle of blood come out. It hisses like a noise. However, obviously, as it's doing that, it's taking its action. Now, unfortunately, you're the nearest, Sasha.
The thing is, I'm moving back and I'm shot at it while it's coming to me, so it could be attacking me too. Just mentioning.
Yeah, it's basically crawled out. You shot at it, and obviously it's looking around for the easiest mark, and it's seen this small girl almost next to it as it crawls out.
Maybe it could step on some of the left caltrops?
Yeah, I think that's quite reasonable. Would you roll me a d6, please?
Sure.
And that'll be how much damage it takes from the caltrops. Oh, nice.
Fuck crossbow bolts!
Okay, so this thing howls as several of these sharp caltrops embed in its bare feet. You can see it's wearing a few tatters of rags and clothing, but very little else. Its toenails and fingernails are almost like claws, and it lashes out at you, Sasha.
Mm-hmm. She has an AC of 16.
Okay, its long fingernails scrape across your arm with like a sound,
The armor saves!
but it doesn't actually cause
did
you any damage.
Okay, she when I was launching at her, she was fully embraced to be in pain again, and is really taken by surprise that the armor actually saved her.
Okay,
See, it does work.
it's your go, Sasha.
Okay, yeah, she will draw a pistol and shoot.
Okay, make your misfire roll first.
Yes, that's a D20, right?
It's a D10, yep.
I forgot if that's good or bad. I've rolled it.
That's good. It's a 1 you don't want to get. Okay, so make your attack roll.
Yes. Where's my pistol? There we go. Blam.
Nice.
Okay, your attack roll certainly hits. The thing lets out an ear-piercing howl. Would you care to describe how you dispatch it?
Okay. Well, she's shocked by the the armor actually saving her, so pure reflexes, she will pull the pistol and cock it in one moment and just pull the pistol up in front of her and pull the trigger with the smoke going off. And here it's the bullet flying into flesh and some scream, and when the smoke settles, I guess the ghoul lies dead.
Indeed, as the smoke clears, you can, and the echo of this thing's howl is still fading away. You can see it lying on its back with this like large hole blown in the front of its torso.
It looks back at William. I guess that was it. Still holding the pistol.
I'm still a little bit nervous and would try to lead her away from the thing.
As you're leading her away, we're effectively not in combat rounds anymore. You can see that like Barden's also drawn his pistol and he was like pointing it at the thing, ready to take a shot.
Okay.
Well,
Is this one of the genes, Salazar?
He moves over to it and sort of like, you see him looking at it with like an interested eye. Obviously he's a scholar. He moves over to it and he starts sort of like turning it over and he says, no, I don't think so. I mean, this thing, whatever it is, it's some sort of it's some sort of person, but these nails, the emaciated state it's in. But I can see from the blood coming out of the wound you have made, it's certainly not a dead creature like the djinn that those royalists forced on me.
Does it look like a demon?
It looks as though someone has basically taken a person, starved them for a very long time, and has then somehow sort of like elongated their arms and legs.
Oh.
Yeah, this sounds somewhat similar. Not exactly, but I'm just nodding. Should check whatever it ate.
Suddenly Salazar goes, "Ah!" and he sort of like jumps back from the dead body of the creature.
What happened?
He points. He seems quite panicked, and he points at it and he sort of says something in this language you don't understand, this native tongue, and then he says, "Look at its hands."
Sasha will carefully peek.
Okay, you're being very careful, but this thing is like obviously dead. You turn over one of its arms, it flops lifelessly by its side, and as its hand falls open, you can see it has what appears to be an eye in the centre of its hand.
Like it's holding an eye, or there's an eye in its hand?
No, there's an eye in its hand.
See. Takes a look back, step back. That's disturbing.
You see,
Well-
Salazar's also stepped back. For the moment, his scholar's curiosity has been overcome by his revulsion for this thing.
Do you know what this is, Ogren?
No. No, this is something different than I have ever seen.
But clearly not a sea creature.
No. And I step closer to take a look.
Okay, you peer at it, and as I said, it looks like it might once have been a normal person, but it's very emaciated, as though it's been starved for a period of time. Its skin's got an unhealthy pale grey look, as though it's not seen the sunlight for years and years. And like I say, its arms and its legs appear strangely sort of stretched out and spindly, and in the centre of each of its hands is an eye, which has a sort of strange, as you pull the lids of one of these like eyes in its hands open. The eyes are like a strange sort of greenish colour to them.
Does he wear anything?
He's wearing tatters. It looks to him like once have had a set of clothes, but they've long decayed and fallen into little more than rags that are hanging on this withered frame.
Okay.
Is it an adult person?
Yes, although it's difficult to tell whether it's male or female because its attributes seem to have like withered.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in like general proportions that it's an actual like adult-sized creature.
Yes, it is.
Should I crawl in and look what caught?
I was just going to propose that.
Well, let's move it a bit.
Yeah, I do that. I grab it by the shoulder and with my free hand, and I drag it back.
Okay, she looks very relieved when you do that.
Okay,
She was about to
move
touch it.
move yourself to where you want to take it, Audrey, and I'll put it next to you. There we go.
And I would try to crawl in again. I already know
Okay, yeah, you start moving yourself into this small passageway again with your Gloombug lantern shining green in front of you.
Okay, I'm just moving myself a bit and trying to here and walk up again, and yes.
Okay, Audrey, can you roll me a
Do
d6?
I notice anything?
Audrey, can you roll me a d6, please?
Yep.
Okay, you can hear something moving further down the passageway, will you?
Okay, I'm trying to... Can I sense how if it moves towards me or away from me?
The sound's getting louder, so you'd surmise it's coming towards you, whatever it is.
Okay, I'm going back and place my call drops again. Yeah, it would just shh, something's coming, and I would tell the others to hide and ready for combat again, maybe.
So you'll move down here and pull another pistol out. Ready.
I would draw my crossbow again, push my crossbow again.
Okay, if the rest of you want to position yourself where you're going to be, and then we'll go into combat rounds.
Yes, Salazar and Baden maybe back down.
I'm gonna stand in the middle so that I can, because my lantern's light shows us the very edge of the tunnel. So I'm
Yeah,
standing there.
I would also lay my bow next to me because the crossbow takes two rounds to stretch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first turn is Audryn's. Audryn, what are you doing?
Not much. We can't really ready actions in this game, can we?
Not as such, no.
Yeah. So basically, I'm just holding out my lantern so that we can see as far as possible, and I get my fish-headed cudgel in my other hand.
Okay, so as you're all waiting there, poised, you're holding your lantern up, Audryn, you see another one of these grey-skinned humanoids sort of crawling its way, almost bonelessly the way it moves, with great flexibility through this narrow tunnel. You can see its face, which is pretty much, its arms, which are pretty much all you can see at the minute.
So they're kind of crawling like Gollum.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, you can see that they've just about reached this one's just about reached the mouth of the tunnel. And obviously we're in combat round, so Audryn, it's your go.
Just saying there are still call drops there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I placed all of mine now.
I don't know if I'm doing much, to be honest, because Audrin isn't very bright, but he's sort of like
Brave.
he caught on to what we're trying to do here.
Okay, no problem. So I'll go on.
You could parry. Maybe you get +2 for AC, just in case.
I don't. If that's a thing that exists, then
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
It's in the rules cheat sheet.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll do that.
Okay, no problems. So we'll go on to the NPCs. So the creature starts crawling out. William, would you like to roll me a d6 for your caltrops?
Of course. 3 damage.
Okay. So the first of these creatures out howls as it treads on these caltrops, but it does move over them. As it's climbing sort of over them, a second creature emerges from the tunnel and pretty much uses the first as a bridge to get over the caltrops. Okay, and the one that is nearest to you, Audrin, is going to attack you.
Mm-hmm.
Got +2 to AC again.
I'm at 19 with the parry.
Okay, so it lashes out at you with these filth-encrusted nails that it has, but you're able to block it with your cudgel and like, smack its hand away. It hisses and snarls at you. However, the first one that came out is like busily like picking these caltrops out of its feet, so it won't get to attack this round. We then move on to William.
I assume the top 1, 2 is already engaged in melee.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I would try to reposition myself here and shoot the other one.
That's absolutely fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, +2 because it's a crossbow. Nah.
Okay, you fire your bolt towards this creature, but at the very last minute it drops to all fours and the bolt sails harmlessly past it. Okay, Sasha.
She's gonna fire the pistol.
Okay, make your misfire roll first.
Yes. That's a 6.
You're fine. Make your attack roll. And which are you shooting? The one who's in combat or the one who's not?
The one that stepped in the...
Okay, so the one who's not. That's good. Make your attack roll.
Yes. Boom.
Oof, that'll do.
Nice.
Okay, would you care to relate how you dispatch this creature?
Well, I'm almost thinking she like flicks the pistol around on the handle and the trigger, and then stretches out her arm, takes a second aim, and shoots it in the head, and the head just explodes.
And that is exactly what happens. The creature is spun round by the deafening sound of this shot in these confined spaces. All of you will have your ears ringing for a few moments, but as it spins around, like its head just disintegrates and explodes in this fine
She should have been a pistolier instead of a wizard.
Indeed. And as this thing finishes pirouetting around on the spot, its body just collapses to the ground. And we move on to Audran.
Okay. I'm probably slightly disoriented from the blast that came right next to me, but does it seem to affect the ghoul?
Not as far as you'd notice. It appears to be far less disorientated than the rest of you.
Right. Okay. Well, can I step next to him while still remaining like in an adjacent square without provoking attacks of opportunity or something like that?
Yes, you can.
Are these even a thing? Attacks of opportunity in
Yeah,
this system?
I as I said that, I realized that probably not.
No, they're not.
Yeah, so I stagger to the side and go for a wild swing.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Make your attack roll. Okay, you deliver a vicious clout to the side of this creature's head. It staggers slightly, however, it's not down yet.
So we're both kind of crumbling.
Pretty much. As you pull your cudgel back, it lashes out at you again with these filth-encrusted talons. And obviously, bear in mind, you're not parrying anymore because you've attacked it.
Yep. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Okay, it hits you for 3 points of damage as these filth-encrusted talons rake your neck.
Yeah, I probably drop down to one knee, and let out a drunken bellow.
Indeed, as you fall down, you can actually see there's like drool dribbling from its face, and its tongue is lolling out as it closes in on you and eager for the kill. But before that happens, we have William.
Since they are in melee now, I would just drop my crossbow, draw my rapier, and try to attack from behind.
Go for it.
It loses any dexterity bonus to AC when I'm doing that, and I'm getting +2.
Okay.
Not that it matters.
Okay, you run in and you're about to stab it with your rapier, but given that it's effectively like tumbling around with Oddrun, you're forced to like hold back because you're worried you're going to hit Oddrun. Okay, so Dennis, can you please roll me a d10? Okay, Borden lifts up his pistol to fire at the creature. There's a as the powder fails to ignite.
Thank God.
William doesn't like Sasha gives pistols to everyone.
Okay.
He's in melee with 2 of us. There's a 2/3 chance he would hit one of us.
However, he had been aiming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still not a sure thing. So yeah, you're quite
At
right
least.
to breathe a sigh of relief that he's not managed it. Okay, Sasha, it's your go.
Sasha will drop the pistol down and run up and attempt to stab it with her rapier.
Make your roll.
So, is that a +2 as well, or?
Yep.
It is? Okay. A 10? That's probably not enough.
That's a 10, and then you've got a +2 on it, haven't you?
No, I added the +2.
Oh, right, okay, in which case, no, it's not enough.
But doesn't has any dexterity bonus or
No,
shield bonus.
it's not enough.
Yeah, but the base AC is 12 in this game, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You run in with
Okay.
your sword. However, this thing's flailing around. You jab your sword forward, but you actually just like shear off a little bit of the rags that it's wearing, causing it no actual harm. However, we've still got Oddrun to go as we go on to the next round.
Right, so it's basically wrestling now with this guy. Let's see what happens. Do I get the +2 as well, or is that something you guys do?
That's for attacks from behind because it's engaged with you.
Oh, right, yeah, so okay. Yeah.
Okay, you attempt to smite it with your cudgel, but the strange, almost boneless nature of its limbs seems to help it out. Although you hit it, you don't appear to cause any great damage to it.
And I'm probably more wary of not getting my face, like, sheared off.
Indeed. Okay. Now, I'm going to roll a d6. Obviously, it's flailing around and you're all trying to stab it. I'm going to roll a d6 now to see if it attacks. A 1 to 2 will be William. A 3 to 4 will be Oddrun. A 5 to 6 will be Sasha.
Sure.
Okay, so it's attacking William.
Okay.
which I'm assuming it fails to do so with that dismal roll. So as it's spinning around, lashing out wildly with its arms, one of them comes within a few inches of you, William. You take half a step back, and its claws flail through the air a few centimetres from your face. And then it's on to you.
Since it's facing me now, I don't get any bonus, and I will try to hack it again.
Go for it.
13.
Okay, would you like to narrate how you finish this already injured creature off?
Since it's flailing at me, I would try to poke both its eyes out of his hands, and then finish it with poking the actual eyes out. And so it just bleeds out while flailing at me.
And that is exactly what happens. You stab it in both of its hands, and as blood and this strange green goo fountains out of its hands, you evade its clumsy swipes at you until it slows through the lack of blood and eventually crumples to the ground dead. We're out of combat rounds.
Well, 2 more. I'm looking at the entrance. I hope didn't open up a nest here.
You hear the voice of Salazar, who's obviously moved a bit back down the passageway to safety, say, perhaps we should take these bodies for study. They might yield some fascinating insights as to what these creatures actually are.
Sure. I would try to collect the rest of my caltrops, which are not stuck in some... Maybe I could pull them out, but not sure I want to. I would just collect the rest of them.
Well, luckily for you, as I said previously, the creature that trod on them spent some time pulling them out and just drop them on the floor, so you can pretty much collect all of them without having to actually prise them out of these creatures.
And now to clean blood and goo off them. Yay. But okay. I would just collect them again and... attempt number 3. I would just try to crawl in again.
Okay.
And while that's happening, John, I'm stacking the corpses back there with the entrance room.
Absolutely fine. Okay, so if you want to move yourself to where you are, Audron, and William, if you want to start moving yourself into the tunnel.
Sure. I'm listening again. Maybe some more are coming. We don't know.
Okay, you start moving down the tunnel. You don't hear any further sounds of chewing or anything similar.
Okay. Moving further. Should I just keep moving, or...?
Yeah, just keep moving. I'll tell you if you come across anything.
While he's doing that, John, Sasha will reload her pistols.
That's fine. Okay, you come across a large splattering of blood here, William. It looks as though whatever they were dragging caught on one of the sharp, rocky outcroppings jutting from the walls. You can see there's actually some shreds of flesh sort of caught around this sharp rock here.
Since don't know much about the stuff, I would just keep moving.
Okay.
Seems like there's a corpse or something.
Okay, as you continue moving further on, you can indeed see in front of you what appears to be a body lying on the ground in a pool of blood. There is also a second tunnel to the south of you.
Okay, I'm placing cauldrons in the tunnel to the south and would just try to check the corpse.
Okay, you head over to where the corpse is. You can see it's in a terribly bad way. Most of the bones in its body have been broken, no doubt when it was forcibly dragged through these tunnels. It looks like a normal human wearing sort of travelling clothes, common enough on anyone you'd see in this area. It's not someone you recognise as anyone you've seen around Porthcrawl. You can see there are several chunks of flesh bitten out of the corpse.
I just poke it with my 10-foot pole.
That's fine, yeah, you poke it with your 10-foot pole. There is no reaction from it whatsoever.
Okay, then I will slowly start searching it.
Okay, as you search it, you find 2 silver pieces on it and a pouch of tobacco.
I did write it down at the list. And I will move towards north now. And keep looking.
Yeah, that's fine. You continue moving through the tunnels.
Since I don't have any caltrops left, I would just mark my way and mark with chalk where I came from and then move to the right.
Okay. As you're moving into this area, as you shine your lantern, to the left of you there's another cavern, and to the south below you there is what appears to be a much smaller cavern. To the north of you, you can again hear this.
Okay, I will move slowly back again.
Okay, make me a sneak roll.
Sure. With bonus or without?
Without bonus.
I meant without malus. Last time you made me roll at -2, but I assume it's not as cramped here anymore.
Yeah, it's not as narrow in these tunnels, so you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I made it.
Okay, you start sneaking back and you listen a couple of times, but you don't hear any sounds of you being followed.
Yeah, let's check the other tunnel. Would crawl down there. Oh, I can see something blue here.
It's alright, it's because
assume.
the passageway's too narrow, just keep moving.
Okay. And again, I can look around. I'll try to listen again.
Again, you can hear this faint.
From the east, I assume?
It seems to be coming from the east and the north.
Okay, I'm going back. And back to the cavern where I found the corpse. And collect my caltrops to the south and would try to check the south part.
Okay, that's fine.
To the south, and to the east, and another corpse.
Again, this corpse appears to be in much the same state as the first one. The skull is badly fractured as these things have just hauled it with force through these narrow, sharp caves.
Okay, poking it again with my pole and checking it again for items.
Okay, you find 5 silver pieces and an empty water skin.
Empty what skin?
Water skin.
Ah. Okay, then I'm moving back to the others.
Okay, that's fine. Would you just like me to quickly move you back?
I can do that myself.
Okay, go for it. So after a fair few minutes, you guys see William crawl back out of the tunnel with his lantern.
I just throw out the bloody silver pieces, the water skin, the pouch of tobacco. I found 2 corpses, and it seems like there are more of them in there.
Okay.
At least one more. But there are some tunnels in there. I couldn't look it all up because I didn't want to run into them alone.
It's okay. So he picks up the silver and the pouch of tobacco, which he hands over to Ogren.
Salazar says, well, if there are more of these things, surely we should attempt to seal off this cave so they can't get in here any further.
Is here anything like a large rock or something?
Yeah, there are large rocks around, dotted around. It's a cave, yeah.
Maybe you should just take maybe a couple of hours and block the entrance, the tunnel.
Well, says Salazar, I was thinking more than to you obviously have fire powder on you. We could use that to collapse that tiny tunnel. I don't think it would be too difficult.
Okay.
Good, but I mean,
Well, we can't simply leave these creatures to be preying on innocent travellers who may have sought shelter in the ruins, or worst of all, if they make their way out and start preying on the townsfolk.
Maybe they have another exit, and we just don't know about it.
they probably
At
have. I mean,
At least we can go. We can find them through this tunnel.
I mean, they have to come from somewhere, and it's a safe bet that they didn't come from your tower. Correct?
Yes,
He looks at tower.
they certainly didn't come from my tower.
But the problem is that if William is having trouble getting through the tunnels, then there's no way we're gonna get Ogren with us.
Yeah. And to be honest, I would rather have him at my side fighting these things. I mean, I could just get more call drops and just lay them down all in the tunnels until they are all dead, but it would take time.
At this point, Odrin, can you please roll me 2d20s?
Maybe it would be best if we... Would it be possible to take the trapdoor leading down here and
We could seal that.
screw it out of its hinges? What is it called?
Hinges.
Hinges, and press it in through the tunnel and secure it that way?
Okay, so Odrin, as you're piling these bodies up, as you put the second one onto the top of the pile, so you have a bit of a better look at it in the light of your lantern, you can see that it actually appears to have a set of additional vestigial arms set into the lower part of its chest. They look as though they're not functional.
Here now, wise sage, come and take a look at this. This is strange.
He moves over and peers at it and says, fascinating. It's as though these two creatures are clearly the same species of creature, but they both appear to have different oddities in their physical form. Observe the second one. It doesn't have eyes in its hands like the first, but yet the first one doesn't have these withered arms set into its chest.
I've never seen such creatures. I pointed the small tunnel. Where do they come from?
Well, as I have said, Salazar, I have heard that these limestone cliffs are riddled with caverns and tunnels due to the nature of the soft nature of the rock. It's possible there could be any number of these caverns throughout the cliffs. And looking at that small tunnel that your young friend just came out of, and the impressive arms on these creatures, it surely wouldn't be too difficult for them to have expanded or dug new tunnels through this soft rock.
If it's limestone, could we expand on the tunnel so Ogren could come through with the shovel, or do we need a pick?
We have two shovels.
I believe with a little effort it would be possible to expand these tunnels to allow your friend and more sizable people to fit through it. It would be a noisy business though, and if, as you say, there are more creatures further on, it would doubtless alert them to our presence.
Yes.
I could lay a trap for them. We should just get back and get some more call traps, and maybe that's enough.
I mean, yes, we could lace the tunnel. Maybe. Maybe
They don't have much choice. There's only one way for most of the time.
But maybe lace them with bear traps or something too.
If we have something like that.
I would suggest, Sir Salazar, that we might do that, but that your idea of sealing the flagstone is a good one. We could then come back later in force and mount a more egregious expedition and deal with these creatures.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? We should just take these with us. Maybe we can find something interesting about them. And just nod at Salazar.
You can see he's still sort of like poking around at the bodies, these things, and almost absent-mindedly he says, "Yes, of course. Although my field of expertise is not medicine, I do have some skills in that area. I'd be most interested in to learn more about these creatures for the purposes of helping you eradicate them, of course."
I suppose we should inform Lord Drago.
Why should we? It's this his land?
It's his domain. He's the Lord.
I don't think he much cares what goes on at the cliffs.
Well, I just want to know how to kill them and kill them.
Okay, well, look at it this way. If Salazar goes to him and explains that he has discovered monsters living in the limestone beneath here, he also has a solution for the problem. Maybe the Lord would be inclined to give Salazar and his daughter accommodations while this problem is being solved.
Did he do that when his tower burnt down?
No, but this is different.
Why?
Well, with the rumors, or the
William, you need to read between the lines.
Yeah. Silab.
Yeah, I'm still not good at that. Well, whatever. Try whatever you want. I'm just trying to find a way to kill them.
Should we try to take the trapdoor and see if we can block the tunnel with that?
Yeah, were some large rocks outside. It should be no problem. We could just lock the trapdoor and be gone with it.
Indeed, Sir Salazar, I think William's right. We could replace the flagstone and then place several of the larger rocks from the rubble of the tower on top of it to weigh it down. That should do as a temporary measure.
Well, let's do that then.
Yeah.
By the way, the gravestone outside, what is that for?
Salazar says, I believe that's where the villagers buried what was left of the creature that came out of the tower, the djinn.
Oh, I thought they burned it, but okay. Well, let's get out of here before more of those show up and block the passage.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, so you all head back up out through the trapdoor into the ruins of the tower.
I think we should take these remains of these creatures to Lord Drago and see if we can.
Isn't there something like a guard, watch, something like that?
Yes, and he's the Lord Mayor, so he's in charge of the guard.
Whatever. Again, let's just block the entrance first.
Okay, so you guys spend some time like heaping up some of the larger stones that are scattered around on top of this flagstone to weigh it down.
I'm looking at Audran. You did get hit, right?
Yes.
Do you
That's
feel
right.
sick or anything?
No, I feel drunk.
Yeah. I'm just checking.
You're a chicken?
I'm checking. Check what happened to you.
Yes. I'm well. I'm happy. One can ask no more.
Okay, let's stack up on traps and maybe some shovels or pikes or whatever, and then let's go.
Okay, so if I'm correct, you guys are taking the bodies to Lord Drago, is that correct?
Yes.
Duh.
Okay, so since we're getting near to 10, I suggest that we finish the game there, and we will open up next time with you guys delivering these things to Lord Drago.
Let's go.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, obviously I'm happy to chat for a bit afterwards, and we'll sort out XP, etc., but I'm going to end the recording now.
Yay, XP.